All right, I got this. This thing gave me a headache. And now the phone's acting. It just pulled it up for me.
I can't do anything on the phone. It's just too small for me.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you all for joining us today for our July 16, 2024 City Council meeting. And we will open it up with public comment. First, I have Don Hake.
What a way to start. First of all, I want to make sure that what I hope to accomplish here is that I'm in the right place. Now, you guys are the legislative body for the city, I understand. If somebody has an issue or a complaint about what's going on, we have public TV and we have a public hearing and people can come and express those things. But then when you enact legislation, when you take some kind of a legislative act, it then has to be passed on to the administration. Is that correct? I mean, yeah. It's not that you can't order the police force or the fire company or any of the mayor's administrators to do certain things. So, having had that clear, I want to read to you a rather old, and I won't go into the wherefores, I'll go into the now therefores, if you will. This was passed in September of 2019, and it reads as follows. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of York, Pennsylvania, as follows. The City of York will join other leading towns and cities in the national movement to support transition to 100% clean and renewable energy community-wide. 2, the City of York will interpret clean, renewable energy as energy generated from renewable sources, such as wind, solar, small hydro, tidal, fuel cells, and geothermal, with locally produced and distributed energy prioritized wherever feasible, for the many advantages it provides to the community. And 3, the City of York will partner with county and state legislators and organizations in determining a long-term clean energy plan. And the public will have opportunity to provide feedback in the implementation process, and the city will ensure that benefits of a transition will include low-income and marginalized residents. Councilwoman Queen of Washington, you sponsored this, and very well done. And it was voted unanimously by the board at that point in time. Now, 5 years later, I'm here to ask, where's the plan? I think that should come from the executive board, isn't that? I started out by asking, am I in the right place here? Is this not a job that the mayor should be picking up and doing? Do we know of any plan? 5 years later, do we have any kind of implementation of this? What's being done? I would strongly suggest to the mayor's representative that they convey to him, maybe he could come and explain to us what the plan is. Make a special trip here. So that everybody could see and hear responses. That would be a good thing to do, I think. But the city of Baltimore should be consulted. I'm signed up for their letter, and they have an organization within their administration that meets with all of the other departments and what have you, because this is an overriding strategy. Everybody's got to be on board. You know, we can talk about all the things, and we did when we came in the room and looked at the plan. We can talk about all those things, and it doesn't matter about any of them unless the human beings have survived. And we're talking survival here. This is important stuff. Now, we're sitting in an air-conditioned room right now. Walk outside. That's not going to get better unless we make it better. So there's actions that need to be taken. I'd like the mayor to tell us what his plan is. Okay? And thank you very much for the time to speak.
Thank you.
Don, what meeting was that again, just so I can put it in the minutes, did you say?
I'm sorry?
What meeting did you say that was? You said September?
It took September 17th,
Okay,
2019,
okay,
and it was under Henry Nixon's council presidents.
okay.
Aquina had presented the issue.
Thank
Oh, one other thing, Burlington is one of the three cities in the eastern part of the United States that have been designated by the Sierra Club to be a 100%. I have been in contact with them pre-pandemic. That's another one I would add. I think Burlington would have some good input and some guidance for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Next, we have Darrell Leonard Heverling Jr.
Hi, everyone. So I've been trying to get a hold of the mayor for a long time. And I would like for the mayor, my name is Darrell Leonard Heverling Jr. And so I'm trying to get a hold of the mayor. I've been trying to get a hold of him for years, the police commissioner, about an attempted homicide that was done upon me. And it involves the state representative, Carol Evans. Also involved a judge, James Morgan. Also, there's a lot of other people involved in this attempted homicide that was done upon me. I spoke with my doctor because I could no longer go to the police department because of an incident that happened with the Inspector Michael Davis. I was to testify against that man, and there were some things that happened to me prior to the testimony, and I was literally beat. And I was wheelchaired to the courthouse, as a matter of fact. I was not given a court date about this. And when my lawyer called and left a message stating that I was supposed to be in court, I seen the lawyer that day afterwards and told him to reschedule with the judge, need to get in immediately. Well, I was taken to prison that day. I laid in a med cell for 4 days with no food and water, no medical attention. They strapped me in a chair, okay, and they beat my legs in. And when they tried to pull me out of the chair, I was still strapped in the chair. They dislocated both my shoulders. So when I was wheelchaired to the courthouse, I couldn't testify, and they threatened me that if I'd go and testify or if that I'd go to the hospital and that they were going to send me back to the prison. They were going to do way worse to me, okay? I got out of jail. I wasn't able to testify. I had to plead the fifth because I couldn't even speak. I was having chest problems, probably a mild heart attack, and everything else that was going on inside that court. When I went to go get the test done, in my eyes, I've seen these two women before in the courts, spies working for the courts for York City here. And when I went to the York Hospital, they tried to say I was harassing patients out at the York Hospital. Was a lie. Okay. They put handcuffs on me. And I was in a padded room for hours with nowhere to sit with handcuffs behind my back. Okay, when they came in, they had to jab me with a needle talking about toxins were running through my body. And snot was just pouring out of my nose. And it was really bad.
Mr.
Then
Hemling, I don't know that
they-
this is appropriate for this forum here.
Oh, I need to bring this to the mayor's attention about this.
Well, not to this body here, so. we
Okay,
just
so this
ask that
involves
you-
the inspector, Michael Davis, which threatened my life, my welfare, and my
That is
well-being.
not within the purview of city council, I'm sorry. If you want to try to make an appointment with the mayor's office.
I have been for 6 years.
I understand that.
Okay?
I understand that,
And-
but this is not
Well-
this is not the body to do that. I'm
So,
trying to tell you that.
I've been trying to get a hold of everybody. I can't even file charges,
We have your
okay?
information here. We'll make sure that the mayor gets it for you.
Okay,
will
well, I
make sure
got
that he
something
gets
else
it
to
for us.
say about with the state representative withholding evidence
That
to
has
an
nothing
attempted
to do with
homicide
city
that's done
council.
upon me.
That has
Mr.
nothing to do
Everling,
with
that has
the
nothing to do
legislative
with
body.
us at this time.
I'm sorry, sir.
This is a public here for the very first half hour, right?
No,
And
no.
I can speak about problems that I'm having here and that I've been trying to get a hold
Talking about our
of.
legal issues that we cannot speak on and that we do not have.
I'm not
anything to
asking
do
you
with.
guys to speak on nothing. I want to tell my story about what's been going on and happening to me here
I say that.
in
we
York
move on to the
City.
next
Yeah,
president.
we need to move on to the next person. Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
sir.
Thank you for your
guys wanna
time,
make
sir.
sure that the mayor gets
Yes,
this
we
and
will.
contacts me as soon
Yes,
as
we will.
possible. My phone number is on there.
Yep, yes, we will. And we
All
have
right.
your address as well.
That is a P.O. box. I am
Yes.
actually homeless at the time. I was forced out of the home where I was at. When all this went down, we were gonna buy the place and everything. And, then this all happened with the inspector and people trying to kill me and things that's going
Well,
on.
thank you. We'll make sure that Mayor Helfers gets this information and has your phone number on there.
Okay.
And you even shared the information.
There's another thing I'd like to make a statement about this drug, a tool that's being used here in York. It's called Devil's Breath. This drug alters your memory and takes away your free will. You can make someone kill themselves, go out, kill, rape, rob, murder. You could frame, blackmail people. This drug was used on me on the crime scene. The state representative, Carol Evans, used the drug on me. the
Mr.
second
Heverling,
week.
Mr. Heverling,
Okay, well,
thank
something needs
you.
to be done. You're welcome.
Have a
Thank you,
wonderful
Carol Evans.
evening and thank you for your time.
I'm still gonna be here.
No problem. Thank you for your time. Do we have any other further public comment this evening?
Hi, Monica Kruger, city resident and city employee. Just have a public service announcement. The school district of the city of York and the York City has combined together to, there's a back-to-school resource fair that is Saturday, August 10th. There's also a 5K and Health Expo going on the same day. So the 5K is at 8:30 a.m. and the fair starts at 12. Some of you may be familiar with this. This is the backpack giveaway that happens at William Penn High School. So I do have a flyer that I can leave for people to look and should be, can't promise, but should be on the York City School District website. So I'll
Thank you. Thank you. I saw it on social media.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Is there any other public comment this evening? Okay, we will move along. It is now 6:14 p.m. and we will call our legislative meeting to order. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Bub? Here. Buckingham?
Here.
That's in order. John Askew?
Here.
Dennis?
Here.
Washington?
Here. May we all please stand, those that can stand, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. We have an action on our previous meeting minutes from June 4th, 2024. I make a motion to approve our meeting minutes from June 4th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That moves forward. At this time, we have a presentation from Sarah O'Brien, Director of Downtown Inc., a presentation on Placer AI technology.
Hello, good evening, council members. Thank you so much for having me this evening. I know you guys have a lengthy agenda, so we will try to be short and sweet, but happy to answer any questions you all may have at the end. Placer AI is a foot traffic software that uses cell phone data, anonymous data, to understand how visitors, employees, locals travel throughout an area. The York County Economic Alliance earlier this year, with the support of several local foundations, was able to obtain this technology, and so we have been learning a lot about it, and wanted to share some of our findings with you all tonight, okay? So just a little bit, Placer is obviously just tracking foot traffic, but that tells us a whole lot of information that is very helpful in helping to make things happen in York County. It uses cell phone data. Specifically, there are no identifying features, so I don't know that it is President Washington's phone that we're getting data from. It is all anonymous. It's been used all over the country by different local cities, economic development agencies, but as well as large major corporations and workforce training programs. It's aggregated, so like I said, it's non-identifying. I know we get a lot of questions about, Big Brother spying on us, and that is not our intent here. And of course, this is cell phone data. You'll see the numbers here for York County and the country as a whole. It tells us a pretty complete picture, but of course, data is only as good as all the information, and we know not everyone in York County travels with a cell phone, so keep that in mind. Placer has a lot of great capabilities. It lets us go back up to 7 years so we can see pre-pandemic levels. It also lets us compare various points of interest, or POIs as we call them, with different parts of the country. And so we'll see an example later from our neighbors across the river, but we can actually compare downtown York to downtown Charlotte, North Carolina, if we wanted to. And so lots of different demographic capabilities, as well as looking at heat maps from where visitors are traveling from, and we're going to go through some of those examples in just a minute. So first thing we wanted to show you guys was take a look at Wellspan Park, just down the street from us, and kind of just give you an overview of the data that we were able to interpret from Placer. And so as you can see, attendance at Wellspan Park has grown steadily since after the pandemic, and so to date this year we had 208,000 visitors, which is almost as many as they had all of last year. It'll also show us the time frame and the dates that visitors are traveling. Of course, at Wellspan Park, the majority of the traffic comes during baseball season. That's no surprise to us. And here you can see the trends over the last 7 years. As you can also notice, the pandemic obviously took a dip in attendance there. We can also compare this. So we compared this to Clipper Stadium, and I apologize, I say Lancaster differently than everyone else, so forgive me for that. But we can take a look at the data from both of these stadiums. And so just a couple of things we wanted to highlight is that we actually have more visits to Wellspan Park than they do across the river. Our visitors are actually more loyal. They come back more often, which is a great statistic to have, and they're staying longer, which is also fantastic. We can also look at and see kind of this heat map, as we like to call it in the economic development world, that shows us where folks are coming from in order to get to Wellspan Park. And so this is kind of the trade area, the metro region, as well as looking at the county. You can see obviously the concentration is closer into York City, but there are folks coming from all over the county to enjoy a game at Rev Stadium. And then you can even look at the region. And so we've got folks coming as all the way from Philadelphia and Baltimore to enjoy a game with us, which is great news. Also, this Placer AI will give us demographic data. It shows things like median household income, as well as gender, race, age, all of the data that we need in order to be able to better market and to drive more economic activity in the county. One of our favorite things internally is this visitor journey that it's able to map out. Since cell phones are on the move, it'll actually tell us where visitors are going before and after leaving a certain destination or point of interest. And so these are the visitor journeys from Wellspan Park. We love this example down here of Liquid Hero Brewery. Approximately 1.2% of all visitors to Wellspan Park last year visited Liquid Hero Brewery before they went to the ball game. And why is that data important? That translates to 2,400 customers, essentially. But that's a great marketing intelligent information that Eric and his team at Wellspan Park can use to potentially partner with Liquid Hero. And so the possibilities are really endless with this data. And I will say we got access to the program in January, and we are still learning every day. So there is a lot more to unpack here. This is kind of just the top 10 list of where folks are going before and after. I love imagining a family going after the game to the small ball field. Hopefully they're practicing their throws after watching the Revs on the field. You can see several folks are leaving and going to the Wyndham, so they're staying the night in York, which is great information for us to have. And then I won't go into all of those in details. We can also map out those visitor journeys so you can see which way visitors are coming into an area, whether that be Wellspan Park or downtown. This is helpful information potentially for, Dave and Tom's crews when they're looking at road repairs or entrances to certain geographic areas in town. We can actually see where folks are traveling to and from. And then just some more of where the Revs folks love to go, which I think this is always interesting. Everyone's obviously going shopping at West Manchester Town Center, but lots of other places and several downtown as well, which I, of course, like to see. And Walmart is always a big hit, no matter where you are. So next I want to go really quickly and take a look at some downtown York specific data. I am the director of Downtown Inc., so it's near and dear to my heart. But looking over a 7-year total visitation, that's basically when Placer AI started. So that's what the data we have access to. And you can see there's 27.2 million visits to downtown York with approximately 700,000 unique visitors. In 2023, visitation was up almost by 1 million individuals, which is a huge number for us compared to 2021. In 2021 to 2022, it was over 400,000. So those are some big numbers. We're slowly getting close to pre-pandemic levels, which is exciting. This is kind of just the heat map over the last 12 months showing where folks are traveling from to get to downtown. Pittsburgh obviously is quite a long distance away, but we're getting lots of traffic from that direction. And this map will blow out and show folks coming from all over the country to visit downtown York. So over the last 12 months, this kind of just shows you the total number of visitors for those coming from within within a 50-mile radius. Those are kind of considered locals. Over a 50-mile radius is what we consider a visitor in our world. And so about 35% of the folks that are coming in downtown York are coming countywide. Tourists is 12%, which is a huge number, and that's important for us. Downtown has about 16,000 tourist visits, or 516,000 tourist visits every year. And we do the numbers, that's about a $200 million economic impact. This is, again, just a map. This is actually showing where employees reside before coming to work in downtown York, which shows that we are attracting workforce from as far south as Baltimore. I think that's the hotel manager of the Yorktown up there at the top left-hand corner of the screen who travels quite a distance to get here as well. And I can't identify that from the data. That's just because he told me where he lives, just to clarify. City residents make more than 1 million trips to the BID every year, which is the Business Improvement District downtown, and that number is steadily growing. And approximately 25% of all visits to the BID are from city residents that live less than a mile away. So people are coming to explore that live close to here. We also took a quick look at Wellspan Park. The York County Economic Alliance does a series of hiring fairs or job fairs at Wellspan Park. And so we wanted to kind of dive into this data, and we were able to track that we had 777 visitors, which is great. 11% were coming directly from work before coming to the hiring fair, and 10% were really dedicated and went back to work afterwards. 32% came from their house and 32% went home after. But we can also see top locations of where they're coming prior to the career fair, which may at some point be able to help us identify trends in employers and folks, trying to advance in their careers. Here's the top locations that folks went to after leaving the career fair. Central Family Restaurant up showing high in the rankings. We also looked at the demographic data. It showed us the median household incomes, as well as a breakdown of race. One thing that Placer cannot do yet for us, that we're hopeful they will have the capabilities soon, is to account for the Haitian Creole population, which I know we're seeing an influx here in York. Again, that map just shows, I'm not sure what I did there, but that's okay. That map shows folks and where they came from. I'll just kind of go through these. Lastly, what we did is we took a look at Go Green in the city. Now it's skipping around, but that's okay. Which actually Hannah has given you guys a handout. This is Downtown Inc.'s signature event that took place this April. So we were able to track, we have always at special events used clickers. We would put someone at the top of a building and count the ants down below and then calculate those. We've also calculated trash before at an event to calculate attendance. And so this is a much more efficient and effective way for us to know how many folks are attending special events downtown. So we had approximately 6,400 attendees that attended the event this year. Is someone else moving that? Or what's going on? Anyways, okay. It's not me. I don't know who's someone's. It's a ghost on the computer. Okay. All right, there we go. Now we're back. I bet that was Cliff remotely. It's probably, yeah. Okay, thank you, Cliff. We appreciate you very much. So we looked at favorite places for folks that were attending to Go Green, to where they wanted to go. Of course, Central Market House, White Rose, Fig and Barrel, Holy Hound, and the Appel Center were at the top of the list, which is great news for all of our downtown partners. Also just showing a quick map of where folks were traveling from. I found it interesting. Approximately 2,300 attendees to this event were not from York County, and that included representation from 10 different states. As far south as Texas, and I promise that wasn't my cell phone, because I am now considered a York County resident, but South Carolina and Alabama, which you guys can kind of see the highlights here. Go Cowboys. Me and Nancy are big Cowboys fans. And so that's really all I have. Just wanted to provide you guys a snapshot. As I said, the Alliance and our team, we're still understanding and learning every day about the capabilities of this software, but it's a great tool for us as we continue to make things happen and work on the economic vitality of the county and York City as a whole. If the city has any special projects or opportunities or events that you guys are interested in having a conversation with us about, to see how Placer AI may be able to provide some insights so that you guys can have the same data when you're making decisions, just reach out to myself, to Katie or Silas or anyone on our team, and we'll be happy to have a conversation about how we can work together to make a better York. So I'm happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is wonderful data about the amount of people coming into our city, where they're going, what they're doing when they're here staying. So thank you for sharing that with us. I don't know if anyone has any questions or comments for Sarah.
Nope, great information.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, moving along to our scheduled meetings. Our next legislative meeting will be held here in council chambers on Tuesday, August the 20th, 2024 at 6 p.m. All agenda items are due by 12 noon on August 14th. Our council committee meeting will be scheduled for Wednesday, September the 25th at 6 p.m. and here in council chambers, and all agenda items for council committee meeting are due by 12 noon on September the 18th. And we have no prior committee referrals to report, and so we're going to move forward now with our legislative agenda. We have final passage of bills and resolutions. Final passage of bill number 21. Move to approve.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded.
And that is a bill amending the 2024 budget. That's it.
Are there any comments or questions from council regarding this matter?
None.
None.
Are there any comments or questions from the public regarding this? It has been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Bub,
Yes.
John Askew,
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward. Next, we have final passage of bill number 22. Move to approve.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded.
And that is a bill amending the 2024 budget for the group violence intervention activities funded by Grassroots Growth Initiative in the amount of $10,000
Bless you.
and a grant from York College.
Are there any comments or questions from council regarding this?
None.
None.
Are there any comments or questions from the public regarding this? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
What's the girl's name?
Yes.
Bub,
Yes.
John Askew,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward. Now we move on to the introduction of bills. Up next, we have introduction of bill number,
That will be bill number 23.
So introduced?
Bill number 23, introduced by Elspeth Bubb, a bill amending Article 1763, Property Maintenance Code, to include furniture not specifically and professionally manufactured for outdoor use as a type and category prohibited from the front yards of exterior property areas in the city.
and that is a bill and it will sit. Up next, we have introduction of bill number 24. So introduced.
Bill number 24, introduced by Queen of Washington, a bill amending the 2024 budget in the amount of $11,662.20 for CDB grant funding reflecting changes due to unexpected funding from 2017.
And that is a bill and that will sit. Moving along, we have introduction of bill number 25.
So introduced.
Bill number 25, introduced by Felicia Dennis, a bill amending the 2024 budget in the amount of $9,000 for the Summer Parks Program.
And that is a bill and it will sit. Moving along, we have introduction of bill number 26.
So introduced.
Bill number 26, introduced by Felicia Dennis, a bill amending the 2024 budget in the amount of $5,000 for implementation of stormwater asset management system.
And that will sit as well. Moving along to new business. We have resolution number,
Sorry to catch you.
no problem.
No number. Hi, I'm Jeff Stout from Warehouse.
We need to introduce you. Yes, yeah, hold on a second. Somebody's excited.
This is my first council meeting.
Well, welcome.
Go easy on me.
Slow down.
That'd be resolution number 60. Was
So-
that, I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't hear you say so.
So introduced.
Right. And that is, give me 1 second here. Resolution number 60 is a resolution approving a waiver for the preliminary final subdivision plan for the property located at 614 West Church Avenue to create additional parking for future use of the building at the site. As submitted by Dent Supply Company of New York, Jeffrey Stow Warehouse.
All right, it was introduced. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any public council comment?
I just would like to learn a little bit more. I believe I saw this at Planning Commission
Yeah,
last.
I did bring some plans for everyone.
Could you please, for the benefit of the council, our information is not real great, just give us the same overview?
This parcel has like 3 different addresses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
It's very confusing. So
It
the
does.
2 big dense supply buildings, the tall ones,
Introduce yourself again, I'm sorry.
Jeff Staff.
Okay, Jeff, and wait till you get to the mic
The
before you
microphone.
start talking, okay?
Thank you.
And who are you with, Jeff? Jeff Stow?
Warehouse.
Okay, Warehouse, okay.
The property does have 3 addresses, so it's a little confusing. So the 2 large dense supply buildings, they're very tall buildings. This is a 3.82 acre parcel west of that. So if you look on my drawing, on the upper right corner is the tallest building there with dense supply.
Okay.
So we're just talking about the little parking lot close to the park off the end of that little manufacturing building. So we don't plan on subdividing any land or putting any new buildings on this property. It's just additional parking to go with that building. And what we would do is submit a stormwater plan to the engineer and the zoning officer for their approval, and we'll meet the city's SALDO and zoning ordinances for that, the screenings and things like that, landscaping, stormwater requirements, all of that.
Okay, so this is already a parking area.
No, this is grass.
Oh, this is grass, okay, that's what I'm looking at, all right.
Yes, the east side, the right side's all parking. Yeah.
So inside, in the resolution, motor vehicle service is just another term for parking?
Pretty much, yes.
Thank you.
We're going to stay with the zoning uses. There are no, it's permitted uses in this zone, so no special exceptions with that either.
Okay.
I thank you, because I wondered which part of the plot that was address-wise. I did look up the zoning ordinance related to dimensions, so this is in the EC zone, and there is a table in the zoning ordinance 1303.14, and it talks about keeping 20% of the property pervious, so that will be one of the things I assume you will be working to adhere to.
Yes, it's hard to see. The property line goes down to the creek.
Wow, okay.
So
Then
so
that-
we're maybe 30% coverage,
Okay,
and we're allowed 80%. Yeah.
super. Thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions from council? Are there any comments or questions from the public?
Yes. In light of my previous remarks, steal this a little bit from me. I would like to, I understand that this property is going to be transitioned from its current manufacturing or its former manufacturing to a residential. But I would like that you require that it be LEED certified, if you're familiar with the LEED.
Yes.
Okay. I would like to see that, and I would also like to see renewable energy introduced into these living, this transition. That would be a great start for us based on what I've already recommended. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments from the public regarding this? Thank you, Mr. Stow.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, can you please call the vote?
Bub,
Yes?
John Askew,
Yes?
Dennis,
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes, and that moves forward. Moving along, we have resolution number 61. So introduced.
and that is resolution number 61, introduced by Queen of Washington, approving a preliminary final subdivision plan submitted by the RDA Von Remo for 278, 280, and 282 Cottage Hill Road to divide 3 parcels into 4 for future development of the property.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any comments or questions from council regarding this matter?
Was there anybody here to speak to this tonight?
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Tom Englerth with Site Design Concepts, and I have the plan here in front of me tonight. And you'll see on the blue side of the plan is the existing conditions. There are 3 very narrow lots on Cottage Hill Road. They're approximately 16 feet wide. The RDA owns these properties. The one parcel did have a blighted property on it that was demolished and raised with land bank funding that was provided by the land bank and the fees that we collect for that. What's being proposed here is a 4-lot subdivision. They're going to on the red side of the plan, you'll see there's going to be 2 lots that face on Cottage Hill Road and 2 lots that face to the rear onto Union. These lots will be, the setbacks for these lots will be on the external of those 2 at the front and 2 in the back, meaning there'll be a duplex, they'll be provided for a duplex on the front and the rear of these 4 lots. This is going to be a fairly unique project in the city in that the developer that has signed an agreement with the RDA is looking at building these duplexes at just at the required square footage of the units. So they'll be very small, 600-700 square feet each, and with that become very attainable for any residents who decide to purchase. These will be for sale. At this point, I don't think he intends to rent these unless for some reason they do not sell. I'll be glad to answer any further questions.
I've been following this since it, came to RDA, the initial proposal for the lots. Now, so I am correct in understanding all we're doing tonight is approving for the subdivision, that the final development will still need to come and be approved?
Tonight is just the subdivision. I don't know that with the residential development, there will be a land development plan. I think there'll just be building permits, is my understanding.
Okay. And will that go through planning and zoning as well, or just?
No, that just goes through the staff.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, could I see the plan?
Yeah.
I was curious, I'm on Cottage Hill a lot, frequently, and I intended to go and see just where it was.
So Smith Street.
Right.
This is the driveway back to the Susquehanna Commerce Center.
Right. Okay. So this is heading west that way?
West is
Right,
that way.
yep, okay.
You wouldn't know there's 3 lots there when you
Okay.
drive by based on the size. They're 16 inches.
So it's across the street there, across from that entrance?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Drive there.
Thank
you're
you.
looking straight out.
Thanks, Tom.
Are there any other comments or questions from council?
None.
I have one question, and I don't know if we have the answer. If we approve this, does the approval stay with the land, or does it stay with the developer? So for example, if the developer changes their mind, have we already just approved the subdivision of the land? And
It's just the land.
It's just
Just the
so
land.
it stays with the land?
Yeah.
Once it's recorded, yes.
Yeah, it will be recorded.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any comments or questions from the public regarding this? Yes.
Popcorn.
Marilyn Haig, city resident. He said they're going to be about 600 square feet each home?
That's a rough estimate. I don't know off the top of my head. I know there's
600 to 700, I think you said.
1,600?
600 to 700.
Well, that's what I thought I heard.
Yes.
I'm a big proponent of tiny homes, but I was told in York County and York City that you cannot build them under 700 square feet. So I'm just wondering how this is happening when
in prior conversations, I was told that this can't be done.
Thank you.
That's good.
I probably shared too much information that I didn't have all the answers to. And I think I did clarify that whatever that minimum is, they're going to meet that. So, yeah, if the ordinance says 700 feet, that's what they'll be. If it says 600, that's what they'll be. I don't know off the top of my head if that's what that case is.
And I would imagine that when they go to get the permit, that would probably, I would imagine, would be, that would be incorporated into that.
Yeah, it gets a
before the
full-
permitting, they would look at the size.
It gets a full ordinance review of the Saldo and the zoning ordinance, so they'll have to have parking there and everything, yeah, as
Yeah,
required.
so for sure, because you did mention that, so that might.
I'm sorry, say it
You
again?
did mention 600 to 700.
Yes.
So, but for sure, when it all takes place, it will meet the minimum requirements.
Unless they decide they want to go smaller and they want to go in for variance.
Well, go ahead, because I see, yeah.
I'm excited about this, though, so I would hope that if you run into trouble, that we start a movement to try to change that law, because I think there should be room for homes that are under 700 square feet.
Okay.
That makes them attainable for a whole lot of people.
Thank you, Marilyn.
I think some of the issues we've run into with tiny home developers in the city is also the lot size. You need the lot size along with the house size, and that hasn't been able to be accomplished to date without a variance, and nobody's wanted to do that yet. So
Don?
My initials BR, broken record. If this were California, which it's not, it would be mandatory. Any new construction must have solar panels. That's the state of California. I think that's pretty forward thinking. And again, I would say to you, LEED certified, strong suggestion. And well, there was something else that I had. At any rate, I'll stand by those remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Are there any other comments or questions from the public regarding this? Thank you, Tom.
Hey, Queenie, yeah, just briefly wanted to say thank you for including the York County Planning Commission report to the municipality, the review of the final in our package, and they did talk about the minimum required open area of 40%, and they cross-referenced the zoning code 1303.10, which has the dimensional requirements. So if you want to look it up yourselves, it's a RS2 zoning district, and if you just put in 1303.10, York City, in your phone, you can pull up all the dimensional requirements if you're curious. So thank you for a good package.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you please call the vote?
Okay, Bub,
Yes?
John Askew,
Yes?
Dennis,
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes,
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward. Up next, we have resolution number 62.
so introduced.
Resolution number 62, introduced by Betsy Buckingham. Council hereby consents to the following recommendations made by the mayor: the appointment of Dana Moore II as a member of the Planning Commission, which term shall expire January 1st, 2026, and the reappointment of Joyce Santiago and Michael Black to the Redevelopment Authority, which term shall expire April 28th, 2029.
Is there a second?
Second?
I believe we have Dana here.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Oh,
as
okay.
I introduced it, and we typically get a resume when we're not familiar, if we're not reappointing someone, so we did not get a resume.
You did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
It's not
I
attached.
emailed it. Yeah, don't attach it anymore for privacy for the
That's a
applicant.
great idea.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
emailed
I
it
should
to
have
you
looked
all.
at my email. I apologize. My apologies to you, Dana.
It was quite an impressive resume.
Thank you. I'll go back and check. I did check my emails too. I didn't see it.
I don't think I have my,
It's fine, it's fine.
no, I was just looking for my oath of office that he can sign.
But you know what, it might be in here.
Well, no, it won't be in the public. I was just looking for my oath of office to see if I can give him his oath of office. Right here, if you guys approve him, that is, I do have it. Okay.
Oh, here it is. I've got it.
Are there any comments or questions from council regarding this?
None.
Any comments or questions from the public? Madam Clerk, can you please call the vote?
Bub,
Yes?
John Askew,
Yes?
Dennis,
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward.
If I could-
Mr. Moore?
If I could swear. Oh, okay, you were
Yep.
saying,
yep.
okay, sorry.
Mr. Moore, would you mind coming forward? We would like to swear you in.
All
Take
right.
this agenda with you too. You was looking for one. so. You're welcome.
All right, if you could raise your right hand and repeat after me. Oh, I'll stand with you so you don't feel alone. Okay. I state your name.
I, Dana Moore II,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties
and I will discharge the duties
of my office with
my office.
fidelity. With fidelity.
with fidelity.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
You can come up and sign this for me then. I can feel the good energy.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
All right.
Congratulations, Mr. Moore, and to all those who were reappointed. I just wanted to mention real quickly that we have several authorities, boards, and commissions that our residents in the city of York can serve on. We encourage all of our residents, if you're interested, to serve on them. If you're able to, you can contact the mayor's office, you can contact our city clerk, and we can direct you to what is needed so that you can serve on those authorities, boards, and commissions. Thank you, Mr. Moore. Thank you to all those who do serve on authorities, boards, and commissions for your volunteerism and for your service to the city of York, because it's impossible for us to all do it on our own, and we must work together. So thank you.
And I'd like to add to that, we do have a boards, authorities, and commissions page on the city website, so you're more than welcome to click on that link and read about each board and find out what positions are vacant, and feel free to apply.
Thank you, Clerk Thompson. Okay, moving along, our next resolution, we have resolution number 63. I'm doing good today.
So introduce.
Resolution number 63, introduced by Felicia Dennett, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a new Tarco Windy 400 leaf vacuum trailer from A&H Equipment in the amount of $93,196.
Is there anyone here that would wish to speak on that?
Did we get a motion in a second?
Oh, you need to.
Council,
That's all right, we can wait, we can wait.
Oh, nobody, okay.
hi, Keith Gerber, Highway Superintendent.
You can go ahead, Keith.
Okay, so we're asking to purchase a new leaf vac. We have 3 that we use throughout the year during leaf season to collect the leaves throughout the city. We are at the end of the life of 2 of them right now. They're units from the early 2000s. So we're looking to replace both of those over the next probably 5 years, but we'd like to get this one here so we can try to stay a little bit more efficient and keep up with the leaves in the fall.
Thank you.
Yep, welcome.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, clerk, can we please call roll?
Yes, but any questions from council?
Any questions from council?
Nope, we're good.
Any questions from the public?
Yeah, we do.
We have a question.
Oh,
I have a question, and I just wanted to see if Kim could talk about the way this is funded, and why the 5-year lease term, 5-year lease is the best vehicle for making the purchase, and then how much extra it costs to finance it.
Okay. In this case, this piece of equipment is being funded through the liquid fuels funding that we receive from the state. So we get a limited amount of funding this year. It looks like it's $1.1 million that we get in that Keith and his team has to split across various expenses that we are allowed to use the liquid fuels funds for. So some of that includes snow removal is our biggest expense associated with the funds that we receive. They also do repairs to storm sewer drains, street repairs in general, and resurfacing materials, a little bit for traffic signals for Dave, and then also just signage and also cleaning. So our street cleaner goes through that too. So we every year are told how much we get, and we allocate it out so that we can use those funding in lieu of the general fund for these types of expenses. So in this case, since we get 1.1, and that's been the average, 1.1, 1.2 over the last several years, to essentially take in one fell swoop, almost 100,000 of that then would take away available budget for those other purposes, that it has been tradition that we have financed those types of expenses so that we can essentially spread it out over several years and build into the budgets each year that we know that what the actual lease payment is going to be for the year, and then we're not taking a huge hunk out of that liquid fuels funding all at once. When it comes to, anytime that there's financing involved, then there is a additional cost associated with it. Specifically for this project, we will be paying a total of, what do I have there? $12,281.50 in interest over the 5 years, and at the end, it's a dollar lease buyout.
So the lease will be paid with the liquid fuel funds, and that the interest will be absorbed in that as well.
Correct.
Thank you, Business Administrator Robertson. Are there any other questions from council? Thank you, Mr. Gerber.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, the please call roll.
Bub?
No?
I wasn't expecting that.
It's the financing.
That's okay. You
I
guys
didn't laugh either.
whatever you want. All right, John Askew,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes. And that moves forward. Up next, we have resolution number 64.
So introduced.
Resolution number 64, introduced by Felicia Dennis, a resolution authorizing an agreement with Stewart and Tate for the 2024 street improvement project in the amount of $758,637.50.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there anyone here that wishes to speak on this?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So this is our annual paving project that we do every year. Sometimes we get to do a little bit more paving, sometimes it's a little less, sometimes we get some grant money that can help. This year, we're asking for the $758,000 to pave 11 separate projects. I don't have off the top of my head how many blocks that is, but it's in several different neighborhoods throughout the year or throughout the city. And some of the street paving, or some of the money actually goes to improving the handicap ramps, the ADA ramps as well. So it's an excellent improvement to the city every year. It's part of our 5-year plan. This year we had to cut, it was actually a 13 project ask, but we didn't have the money for all 13. So we had to cut 2. Generally, when we do that, we try to put those 2 on next year. It's also kind of a task to work with the utility companies and try to get them in and out of there before we come in, so they're not cutting into our new streets. So that's what the project is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any questions from council?
It's just a comment, and I appreciate the answer I was given earlier. The bid for the 13 projects, you picked the lower total bid. Removing the 2 projects changed how the award might be issued. I appreciate that we had to stick with a standard procedure for picking
Yeah.
who to make the award to, and I don't know if there's any other way to change that so that we can save $25,000 by which projects are given to by award.
Yeah, what would happen then is because it's a sealed bid project, if we were to change it, we would have to deny both bids, rebid the whole project, and then both sides know exactly what everyone bid. So 9 times out of 10, your price is gonna go up.
Got it.
Because they'll bid the same as each. So
Okay.
kind of stuck to it. So the other thing to tap into Keith's comment with the utilities, trying to coincide with the utilities. Over the last 15 years or so, we've actually been getting the utilities to pave full streets when they do certain restoration projects, when they go in and do upgrades. So that helps us. It saves his budget. So
Super.
that's
Thank you.
why the roads do sit a little longer also.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Any more council comments? Any comments from the public? Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Bub,
Yes?
John Askew,
Yes?
Dennis.
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward. Thank you, Mr. Gerber.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, we have resolution number 65.
So introduced.
Resolution number 65, introduced by Felicia Dennis, a resolution authorizing agreement for a rectangular rapid flashing beacon and signal upgrades with an ARL grant, which is automatic red light enforcement grant, or automated, with CM High in the amount of $311,000.
Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you, ladies. Is there anyone here to speak on that?
Sure. Good evening, council members.
Good evening.
This project, it's like Diana read off, it's paid through an ARLI grant, which is the red light enforcement money we get from Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. So the state brings in a lot of revenue with their red light enforcement program. So some of the improvements that you're going to notice is a rapid flashing beacons installed at the rail trail crossings on West Market Street. Upgrades to the existing crosswalk striping, and a little bit of pavement markings to make the rail trail crossing a little bit easier right there. The next part of that project will be East College Avenue, East Prospect, Edgar Street triangle. So we're gonna put a rapid flashing beacon to cross there for the kids to go back and forth to Hannah-Penn, make that a lot safer. And then removal of some of the signs, new striping on East Prospect Street to change the lane width and narrow it down a little bit, make it seem a little bit narrower to slow traffic. The biggest portion of this project will be the West Philadelphia Street, Roosevelt Avenue, Penn Street intersection. So I don't know, actually there was just an accident there on Friday again. Cars don't seem to be able to navigate that intersection real well for some reason. So we're going to replace the traffic cabinet and change it to a split phasing intersection. So it will only be one direction of travel moving at one time. For whatever reason, when traffic on Roosevelt Avenue moves, they want to tend to run into each other right there. Part of that will be new ADA ramps on each corners and installation of bollards on the corner around the Roosevelt Tavern. That, you know, I don't know how many times the restaurant's actually been hit. It's 5, 6, 7 times. So it's a big project for us, something that's been in the works for, I know, 15 years. So, but looking forward to it.
Is there any council comment?
I do have a comment. That's another intersection, I live near there, that I use frequently. And the issue is that the people in the left lane go straight across instead of turning.
Yep.
And so I'm very cautious about it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, there's accidents all the time. Will this address, I mean, is there any, I
Yeah, so-
wonder like what is about, I want to say, what about that left turn lane doesn't apply to you, but
Yeah,
it's.
so so what I'll tell you is northbound, westbound traffic will move on its own, no southbound traffic. So then, after that, southbound traffic will flow after they stop.
Right.
And then westbound will move.
And I guess if there was, I guess they don't read the signage, because
No,
there's
they
a
don't.
sign there, is there any way to make that more evident? I don't know, it's a
Yeah,
tricky
Keith
intersection.
and I sit on the traffic safety committee for the city.
Yep.
And I can tell you 3, 4 times a year, people will tell us it needs better signage. There's signage there.
Oh, it is there.
It's on an overhead mast arm.
It's there, it is.
They just don't read it, they don't pay
They
attention.
don't read.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah, this will address it, so it'll, all 3 directions, they'll get their own movement.
Good.
Thanks for your efforts on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Public comment? Yes, maybe, no? Go ahead.
My question is, has that been found to be a high accident
Yes.
location?
Absolutely.
That is the case?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. City traffic is city traffic, and I was just thinking what I'm hearing is it's going to slow that down somewhat,
Yeah.
but safety comes first. That's all I was thinking.
Thank you, Mr. Don.
Slow it down as in the amount of traffic you're getting through, or what do you mean it's gonna slow it down? How long it takes you to get through? Yeah, it's still gonna be a 70-second cycle around that clock.
Really?
Yeah.
It won't back up? Okay.
Yeah, it's still set as a 70-second cycle.
Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Bub,
Yes?
John Askew,
Yes?
Dennis,
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward. Agenda item number 13 is being pulled. We'll move along. We have resolution number 66.
So introduce.
And that is Resolution Number 66, introduced by Felicia Dennis, a resolution authorizing an agreement with the York County Department of Emergency Services for the purchase of 160 portable radios in the amount of $396,823.75.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on that?
I can.
Thank you.
Essentially, the police department, the fire department, and our parking enforcement officers in our parking bureau all have access and, of course, regularly use the portable radio systems that are tied back to the county's 911 system. We were put on notice probably a year or two ago or so that, and this has happened unfortunately more often than we would like, that we essentially have to use the radios that the county essentially sets up their system for. So the radios that we are currently using and set up with the county are, of course, not being manufactured anymore, and they've come to end to life. So at this point in time, you can't buy new radios, and you can only take parts from other radios to fix them. So what was determined is that we need all new radios. So the Chief Sleeger, Commissioner Muldrow, and Cadrell Barnes in our parking bureau, they all reached out to the York County Department of Emergency Services and had determined that since they will be able to buy radios in bulk, we were actually able to save substantially in the per unit cost. So the actual funding for all of these radios are already in the budget. It's a combination of parking had it built in as part of their capital fund, and then police and fire, part of the $1 million WellSpan contribution for this year went towards their radio purchases. So because as a total, these three quotes exceed the $69,000 cutoff for this year in terms of any kind of expense that has to go to council for approval before the mayor and the controller to sign. That's why we have brought this all as one package, nice and tied together with a bow, requesting that you take consideration for approval.
Thank you. Is there any council comment? I have none. Public comments? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Bub,
Yes?
John Askew,
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward. Up next, we have resolution number 67, so introduced.
Resolution number 67, introduced by Queen of Washington, and that is a resolution appointing Hunter Lewis as a probationary firefighter.
Is there a second?
Second? Oh,
I see we have representation from our York City Department of Fire and Rescue. I don't know if you have any comments this evening.
His response will be no. But if you don't mind, I would just speak out. This is actually, we had been approved for 6 vacancies at the beginning of the year. Unfortunately, we were only able to fill 5 of them before our Civil Service Board eligibility list was exhausted. So we have a new list now, and we're looking to just backfill that one that we weren't able to fill from January.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions from council regarding this?
I just have a question. I don't know, how many firefighters do we have? And you said we were authorized to fill 6 open spots. What would that have brought us up to?
We are up to 70. We are up at 70 because we have, is it 4 positions that are paid via the grant? That has increased our total, the safer from, yep. So this will bring our entire force up to, our department up to 70.
Up to 70. Are there, other than the 70 firefighters, are there other fire department staff?
That includes all of the ranked personnel and the chiefs, correct? In the 70. So past that, you've got 1 administrative assistant and 2 part-time emergency coordinators. And that is not normally considered part of the count for the department.
Oh, okay. I would have thought we had 100, since we just got 100 radios for the fire department on the previous, we were requesting.
We also have volunteer firefighters that are not in.
Okay.
In case that's not heard, there's a volunteer company that we help supply radios to.
Right.
So that's why we've ordered more than the count.
Public Works.
Public Works and permits also have a couple radios, and that usually the police and fire department give them the ones that they have purchased and they're available.
And the volunteers, are they in the city? Do we need more volunteers, or?
Always.
How many volunteers do we generally have? They work out of a city fire department?
You're going to have to get up now.
Yeah, you have to get up now.
Sorry.
You thought you were going to get away with it, huh?
Oh, no.
I tried.
We do have volunteer firefighters. They do respond out of the stations, and when we do have calls, so they're welcome to ride along on apparatus as their schedule permits them. Some of them do also hold administrative positions within the volunteer department.
Do you need more? Do you want to make a plea for more at this? More volunteers
I
or?
think it's already been stressed as kind of the trend nationwide and in the state that we could always use more volunteers.
Do you have a training program?
We do.
Okay, all right. And thank you for everything you guys did this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A lot.
Are there any other comments or questions from council?
None.
None.
Any comments or questions from the public?
Madam Clerk, can you please call the vote?
Bub,
Yes?
John Askew,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Buckingham.
Yes.
And that moves forward. Up next, we have resolution number 67. 68, I'm sorry.
You're right.
So introduced.
Resolution number 68, introduced by Betsy Buckingham, is a resolution authorizing an agreement with the York City School District for the year 2024 school crossing guards.
Second.
This just clarifies that, I think it's since 2002, we've had an agreement with the city of York to provide crossing guards, and our business administrator, it is 2002, I think, and the city pays half, and the school district pays half. It's, the cost is split.
Yes, this last meeting, there was a combination resolution that was presented that included this agreement with the school district, whereas they will reimburse us for 50% of the cost that we pay the vendor for the crossing guards that are provided at the city intersections, and the separate agreement with the actual vendor. And so that one did not pass. And then there was an issue at that time associated with Councilwoman Dennis's employment with the school district. So at that point, she thought that she had to recuse herself. So that ended up taking one vote away from the potential for the overall resolution, and it was a tied 2-2 vote. Obviously, very important subject, and so bringing it back around again and making sure that they're presented separately, so there's no combined confusion with any need to essentially for Councilwoman Dennis to recuse herself from both. Truthfully, with this being that they're giving us money as opposed to us giving them money, I believe that we've consulted with our solicitors, and I don't believe that Councilwoman Dennis would need to recuse herself in terms of it being a conflict, because there's no chance that we're not paying her salary as her in her position in the school district. Obviously, completely up to you all how you want to approach that. But again, this is the same agreement that was presented before with the school district, that the school district has passed in terms of them agreeing to pay half the cost of the crossing guards for the 2024-2025 school year.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from council?
I have none.
Yes, briefly, I appreciate the extra work that you put into this and the sharing of the emails and the breakdown of the costs. And with regard to this resolution, it does say in the second to last paragraph, the city has been employing school crossing guards and or contracted with a third party to do so. And I just want to, I'm not sure if this is the right place to ask, but as if we are going to continue contracting with a third party and we have an RFP process, I don't know if we could modify this or addendum to put out the RFP on an annual basis in a sufficient amount of time to get competing bids, right?
That could be a proposed change. There's no requirement that we have to go out for RFP yearly for a service of this sort. It has been determined, though, that crossing guard service does not fall under the exemption for other professional services in terms of us not having to go out for RFP. We are allowed to continue, once we have a contract in place, to renew it with the vendor, but for us to change who we wanted to use, we would have to go through the RFP process. And as stated before, that is the intent for next year to do so. So that would have to be consulted between the legal team at the school district and our legal team if there's any change to this agreement. As I stated, the school district had approved it as is. So that's definitely something that we can add to the agreement for subsequent years.
Thank you for that clarification. Are there any other comments from council?
I have none.
Any from the public? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Bub,
Yes?
John Askew,
Yes?
Dennis,
Before I vote, I wanted to read something. All right. Hi, everybody. Good evening, everyone. At the June 4th council meeting, I had to abstain from our caution and abstain from the voting for the contract because I worked, like you said, with New York City School District. Unfortunately, that resulted in this contract not being passed because there was not enough yeses. To me, that was completely unacceptable because policies shouldn't be at play when it comes to our children and safety, as I always talk about our safety. I understand the desire to discuss this, but until this is a solution, our kids need to be kept safe. And I think we have others that also agree to that. So I requested the city clerk to contact our solicitor, who is Brett, to look into whether my abstention, as you said, if I had to do that because being an employee, well, that all came back that I did not have to do that. I'm not going to read all this. I'm just going to say what I have to say. So with that being said, tonight, my vote is a yes, because I'm concerned about our children's safety when they're going to and fro to school. So before, on the June 4th council meeting, because of my employment, I thought I had to say abstain. But tonight, I want to step up and say that I apologize for that because I wasn't clear if I had to or not. And so the best thing to do was to make sure our solicitor checked it out. And tonight, my vote is yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
okay, and Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes. And that moves forward. Moving along, you have resolution number 68.
69.
69. I have to get it together.
So introduced.
Resolution number 69, introduced by Betsy Buckingham, a resolution authorizing an agreement with All City Management for the 2024 school crossing guard services.
Second.
And this is the agreement for the crossing guards with All City Management. Do we have any questions or comments from council members?
Yes, well, just a comment. All City Management, also known as in an email, the Crossing Guard Company, is based in California. And we've been using them since 2016. I do want to thank our business administrator for providing additional information that was not available to us at the May 29th committee meeting or the June 4th meeting. But that being said, let me clarify that my inquiry is not an effort to micromanage city business, but is a matter of ensuring oversight and accountability. It's also to ensure, that safety for our children. I think this is something that York City residents want. One thing that came out in that information, as far as the metrics for the performance of this company, was that up to any day, up to 15% of the crossing guards did not show up. I guess this is news to us. Now, my question was, at May 29th and June 4th, we don't have a name of a person who's responsible for hiring these people. We don't know where they're located locally, and we're not getting, I guess, monthly reports on how they're performing. And I know how bad and dangerous our roads are out there. 15% of that are missing puts our children in danger. So, it's not enough to delegate our children's safety to, there's a phone number if there's a problem. I did not find that sufficient. The invoice did break down all the expenses, and no matter how you slice or dice it, we did finally raise crossing guard pay to $17.52. And I want to thank Councilwoman Buck, who did the research in Lancaster and Harrisburg that showed that crossing guards there are paid $19 and $20. So that was a fair raise in, their wage, but there was still now, because the 15% failure to show up for work, now we're going to pay increased supervision costs. There's increased costs associated from running crossing guards out of a California company. And yes, we split that with the city, but whether you're paying a city tax, where I'm paying a city tax or a school tax, both are coming out of my bank account every time I get the property tax bill. It's not that, okay, well, this school, no, I'm paying it no matter what. Now, during the month of June, I think it was June 23rd, a York City minority-owned security firm stepped up, interested in this contract. Somebody, a name, a face, somebody we know we can get regular updates from. I would think local control over this function would be the safest thing for our kids, not a random phone number, for a company based in California. So I will still remain opposed to this. I know this will pass tonight, and I hope that the city takes it seriously, that we really need to bring this back to a local concern, especially when we have a commitment to support local businesses in, contracts for the city. That's all I need to say.
Well, I would just like to make one comment, is I did go on All Cities website, and there are 2 local phone numbers who manage the local crossing guards. One did not answer. Of course, it's off-season, it's the summertime, but the other one did have a lengthy voice message that you can call, who does handle things, who is involved in the hiring and the supervision, will be answering calls, again, effective August 1st, which is in advance of the school opening. So I don't know if that's reassuring to you or not, Teresa, but I did make that, so there is local engagement with it. Are there any other comments from council, questions?
I just second what Terry said.
I do think when we spoke about this on the June 4th meeting, we did clarify that there was someone locally working with this crossing guard management department.
But for hiring.
Yeah, but we don't know the name of that person. We don't get regular reports from that
Well, I should
person.
have written her name down, because the name is there when
But shouldn't our business administrator be able to know that? Shouldn't someone from the city know who that person is on a regular basis? I'm talking about oversight for our children.
I mean, when you think about, I agree with your saying about that, but I think a number versus our children's safety is more important for us to have their safety controlled coming back into a new school year. We can get a name. You said it's a name, correct?
There is a name when you call the
Vice
numbers.
President? Right, so I think that's at least our worry of having safety for our children, to have crossing guards to make sure that they get back and forth to school at this point in time, because we discussed this June 4th. And we came up with the conclusion that there was someone locally already working with this. But I do agree with what you're saying. The administration should know who that is.
And we should get monthly reports, some kind of regular feedback as to performance. I mean, that 15% is concerning to me.
Yeah, well, maybe that's something that can happen in the future, but to hold up the safety of our children at this point, if that's something that's going to hold up the vote, then my concern is, what are we really doing? Are we thinking about the safety of our children, or are we concerned about more of someone's name and a contact number? I'm sure the administration will get that, because that's a request from you, which is a great request. I'm not saying it's not. But as far as the vote tonight, how do we vote? Do we hold that up again when we're moving into August and we're about to go into a new school year because of a name and a number? But we already know that there's a local program. Vice President has already stated she forgot to write the name down, so there is already a name and there's already a number. So, I mean, I'm about safety. I work for the school district as far as our safety and security department. So when it comes to our kids, safety is going to be it. You know, I think we can work out other kinks later, but to hold up something and not vote on it or want it to move forward because of like minor things is concerning for me as a councilwoman.
Are there any other comments from council?
Quickly, I'll just say that reading through the contract, it does say that the agreement with the group can be terminated with 3 months' notice. Not saying that we need to do that, but that does give us the opportunity to put an RFP out and get competing bids, hopefully local, maybe even following the Article 136, local disadvantaged business opportunity. And yes, we can't, I don't see that we can hold it up now, but we do have opportunities, the way this is written, to look forward to RFPs in the future.
Right.
And next year.
Are there any comments from the public?
I just have a general comment. I just want to make sure that we remember that we are the legislative branch of government here in the city of York. And the administration are the one that take care of any other day-to-day activities. And we are not the ones to recommend or reprimand them for any work that they may be out doing. Our city staff do a wonderful job. They're highly capable of being able to report out and get the information that they need to sustain operations, to sustain reporting and things of that sort. And so it's not our job or our duty to reprimand them or share with them how they should go about doing certain things. If they have been capable of doing it before, we can give recommendations. But we do have a very highly capable city staff here that run this city every day and do a wonderful job doing so.
Thank you. So Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Bub,
Yes?
John Askew,
No.
Dennis,
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes. And that moves forward. Moving along, resolution number 70.
Correct.
I got it. So introduced.
Resolution number 70, introduced by Queen of Washington, a resolution authorizing the budget transfer in the amount of $100,000 in CDBG funding from RDA stabilization to demolition projects and $38,360 in home funding from general project to the Queen Street project.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any comments or questions from council?
None.
Or do we have representation here? Would you like to speak? Either of you?
Oh, we good.
Yes?
Do you want me to step in again?
Sure, Kim.
Just real quick, I was working with Tammy from Housing on this. This is simply that, you know, we've talked before about how complicated CDBG and home fundings are and how that each year that they have to put together a plan as to the funding that they are expected to get from each of these programs and how they're similar to the liquid fuels we talked about, how they are going to give them out in projects. So essentially, sometimes that plan changes mid-year. And so this was just a request to shift what was included in our budget from one bucket to the other because there has been determined that there is a need for a different type of service that can be provided for with this funding. Did I get that right? Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Has a project been identified for the $100,000 demo funds that is shareable?
All right.
Hello, Jada Richardson, Deputy Director of Housing Services. The $100,000 is to fund demolition. So RDA has money that we give them for stabilization. This $100,000 just goes into a bucket in case there are emergency demolition needs in the community if an issue of safety comes into play. So we don't have to come back here.
Emergency specifically and not any identified project at this point?
It's related to blight remediation, so if there are needs that come up in addressing blight, they can use the money to demo as needed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions from council?
None.
Are there any other comments or questions from the public regarding this? Madam Clerk, can you please call the vote?
Bub,
Yes?
John Askew,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes, and this moves forward. We do not have any requests for future meetings at this time. Do we have any council comment at this time?
I'm sorry, I do. A little bit. I'll be quick, because it's late. In April, we all got an email about a resident having issues with dirt bikes surrounding her driving on East Market Street. And in her email, she asked us the status of the camera system the York Safety Collaboration is working on. And so I am just want to say that we're aware of the issue with dirt bikes. We are aware that the York Safety Collaboration is working on a proposal for camera system. We don't know where we are exactly right now, and I think they were looking for input from citizens, whether they would support cameras. And so if you had input on the camera system, you could reach out to Logos Works and give them your opinion. Moving on to feral cats. We have lots of feral cats. We have some wonderful people in various parts of the city who trap them and take them to the SPCA and use the trap, neuter, return program. If you catch a feral cat in a safety trap, you can get it neutered or spayed for $20. It's a super program. I have been reached out to by some neighbors who see a problem in their area, and they said, what can we do? And I don't know if we can set up a volunteer network of citizens to help do our own trapping. I don't know if we can find a way to offer discounted prices on traps, safety traps. And so I just wanted to put that out there. If anybody's interested, I know some people who are doing it already. Maybe we can build a simple committee or just I'm not sure where the city can help. I just want to say I'm looking into it. Gas meters. We were given some information back in May that there is a new type of gas meter. And when you are going to be faced with having your gas meter put outside, you can request the smaller gas meter. You can also request the placement of that gas meter and the color that they will paint it. You can ask them to put it in your breezeway if you don't want it out front. Wanted to just share that information. Food trucks, we were asked about food trucks last meeting. I'm not sure where we are with that, but hopefully we can follow up and give some answers in our next meeting. Another resident has a child who wants to ride her Razor scooter to school, and she is 9, but the law says you have to be 16 years old. So they were asking me if we could maybe do a carve-out for a 10-year-old and build some guardrails and safety rules around that. So if anybody else has a child under 16 that wants to ride a Razor scooter and needs some legislative help, I guess let me know and we'll see what we can, if there's a way to solve that for that resident. I mean, kids walk to school, they ride a bike to school. The question is the Razor scooter, and the speed limit, I think, is the sticking point. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Buck. I do have a comment, but it's relevant to resolution number 18. Unfortunately, we had a member, Mr. Richard Miller from Affordable Housing Advocates. He wasn't able to get in the door because the door was locked, which I don't understand why. He states here that he appreciates the contribution from the City of York and our continued partnership to provide quality, affordable housing to the residents of the great city. And he said he thanked the city for seeing the value in their efforts and their hard work. So I just wanted to highlight his comment.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you. Any other comments from council?
Just to keep in mind those that was affected around the fire this weekend, that we keep everyone in prayer pertaining to that. I know no one was hurt in it, but still was around a resident neighborhood where people lived, so. Oh.
And do we have any administration comment?
I just wanted to follow up, and I wanted to give a good shout out to our fire department for how they handled
Yes.
the fire. I was out of town, and I know as someone who was, here for the terrible situation that had it happened in 18 is I was nervous for you all, and I can't imagine how it would be when you guys, I'm sure you guys just, clicked into this is work mode, this is what we do, but I'm sure somewhere down there you guys had your concerns. And so I wanted to say thank you for stepping up and doing such a great job. This morning in director's meeting, it was also pointed out, the police department stepped in and was able to use the drone that we purchased with ARPA funds in order to significantly help the fire department in terms of having that view that they don't get normally. That was pointed out as a huge help. So we're very excited that was, I know Captain Akey and team had just come back from a training. So I'm sure when Chief Sleeger called and was like,
wow,
calling you in, they were very excited to use it and to be able to be a help. And then also, I know that Chief Sleeger is going to put out a press release, but all of the businesses and folks that stepped up to provide food and drinks for our firefighters, I would like to thank them for that. That's what we need. I'm sure that takes a huge, it makes a relief for their team that they can keep everybody fed and fluided. That helps, on my end. I want to make sure we've got healthy firefighters going in and out of, these situations. So I wanted to essentially bring all that up. I think that's it. Sorry, don't make it too long.
No, thank
No,
you.
that's great, Kim, and thank you. And we all need to thank them and want to thank the outlying areas that came to our aid.
Yes,
We
that's what
had
I was gonna say, yeah.
many fire departments outside of the city come to help, and there was that unfortunate accident at Hill Street and East Prospect, and do want to keep the fireman in our prayers who is still in the hospital.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don, did you have something?
You brought up something about the dirt bikes. I just want to say that, and public safety, I can't tell you how many times I've pulled up to a red light, stopped, and have a bicycle fly across the intersection. Quick look and zip, they're gone. And I also have seen so many times, too many times, the wheelies weaving in and around traffic. We really need enforcement because somebody's going to get hurt and some poor innocent driver is going to get blamed for it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. It is 7:43 PM and our meeting this evening is adjourned. Everyone have a wonderful evening and a wonderful week. Thank you for being here with us.